I had a question to ask. What's your guys' confidence level in the United States moving forward? Um, do you guys feel like it's a positive situation right now for the up and coming generation that is coming into this economy with these conditions? I don't know if it is. Let me know what you think. I mean, you have to think about it, right? Affordability is at an all-time low. The job market is, drastically changing. There seems to be plenty of jobs out there that are, uh, I don't know if they're high-paying jobs. They're kind of in the $15 to $30 an hour range jobs, which again, in today's society, just doesn't really do much for people. And pensions, the pension system is gone. The loyalty to a company is gone. You have to be a little bit fearful about um, your job security unless you're a highly specialized person, right? There's not really, unless you're highly specialized or you're some sort of government worker, there's not a lot of security maybe in the job market anymore like there used to be. And so and people aren't buying homes as young. People aren't starting families as young, and so I the future of the country is a little bit questionable, right? I don't know what you guys think about it, but to me, that has always been the system that worked well in this country, was having like the strong middle class, having people that could live in a decent home, a starter home, could afford it, could afford to start a family at still a relatively young age, in their 20s or in their late 20s or very early 30s. And I think for the most part, that's kind of gone away. Of course, there are still people that have kids. There are still people that are, doing well. There always will be. But in the United States, there's been an increase in the, disparity between what we call the haves and the have-nots, right? Your average person just working a normal job anymore is not going to be able to start a family comfortably, and they're not going to be able to afford a house. Forget that. And very likely are going to be, struggling to just even afford rent and basic expenses of life. The reason for that is that the cost of all these basic things have just astronomically gone up. All this investor money has been poured into single family homes, into the housing market, which has inflated prices. So now affordability for a normal person is just gone. They're spending a very high percentage of their total income on basic living expenses. And I think that's the reason why people aren't settling down and aren't starting families and aren't having kids, because they are struggling to just afford the basic building blocks of life, right? If you don't feel comfortable about your income and what your income can afford you, like a stable house, a stable living situation, some amount of spending money, some amount of retirement savings, some amount of job security, right? Maybe you're at a good company, but you with all the layoffs and technology changing, you don't necessarily feel comfortable with starting a family or going down that road. And so it's being pushed back later and later. Instead of people coming out of college at 23, 24, 25 years old, getting married and having kids and buying a house, now men and women aren't necessarily linking up. Women can go into the workforce and do their own thing. They're not reliant on men anymore. And, in large part, women are going to really only want to select guys that are doing pretty well or equal to them. So that's going to result in, now, again, I'm not saying that's every woman, but in general, women are going to want to partner up with guys that are doing okay, right? They're not going to be saving guys off the pavement, if you get what I'm saying. So it just takes a little bit longer for that to develop, right? Instead of having two people that are at kind of the same place in life, that are just out of college, that are going to get married and buy a house. If you're out of college now and let's say you're both 24 years old as a man and woman, 23 years old, if you both maybe have an entry-level job lined up after college, you're not going to be able to afford a house, right? It's not going to happen unless you have like money from your parents or some other amount of a down payment or something, very unlikely that they're going to be able to afford anything. So each person is kind of going their own way, and they're not settling down, and the family formation gets delayed. And homeownership, I think, is a big piece of that. If you don't think you can afford your home and have a safe, stable place to raise a family, I think a lot of people just won't have a family. Some people will start a family in a apartment, and they'll do that just because they really want kids. But I think the majority of people are gonna probably want to have an idea of, do I have a stable housing situation? Can I have space for my kid or kids to grow and run around and stuff? And if they can never really afford a home, or they can't afford a home till they're like 30 or 35, then they're going to delay even considering having kids until they're a bit older. And that's kind of what we've been seeing. So I don't know. The average first-time home buyer is like 35, 36 years old now, so it's really gone up just because affordability is so bad, right? The housing market has been so inflated by all this money pouring into that asset class, and now you're stuck with, younger people that just cannot get into the market, and they're having a problem even just affording, like I said, the basic necessities of life. So something's going to have to change, or else people aren't going to have kids, and there's going to be an even growing disparity between the rich asset class, which are the older people that own all the houses and have all the money, and the people that are younger and are trading their time for money that doesn't really get them anything, right? You pretty much have to be making probably $200,000 a year to even really have a chance at doing okay in society. Otherwise, your dollar's just not going to go very far, and you're going to consistently be behind. And not many people are making that amount of money. So they're struggling just to really afford stuff, and entering into society, entering into being a homeowner and having kids and having, a good amount of money to support a family is becoming more of a pipe dream, especially in your 20s. Maybe you can grow to that level by the time you're 30, but, by that time you're no longer really young, right? And you're not really having kids at a younger age. And so maybe instead of having like 3, 4, 5 kids, you only have 1 or 2 kids, or maybe you just don't have kids at all, right? So something has to change. Unfortunately, I don't see it changing too much. I know a lot of the baby boomers are going to be, they're going to be aging out. And so the Gen X and millennials are going to have some wealth transfer there over the next couple decades. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do, if they sell the homes, keep the homes. Home prices probably won't go up as much, though, because if there's not as many people, then the demand for housing will go down, because there's not as many young people. There's not as many people that need the homes. But right now it seems like there's not enough homes, and the people that are getting older are staying in those homes. So the prices are not really coming down because there's just not enough supply for people that want a home to get a home. So anyways, you guys let me know what you think. You can subscribe if you want. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.